The next thing we can do is make sure that this table stays up to date, because if people insert a comment, like if the admin creates a new comment to gdpod, then you actually need to have this set to 4. If you delete a comment, you need to set it to 2. Okay, so that's what we want to do. Therefore, we're gonna search for comments, and you see that if I just search for comments, you see all kind of stuff. But what we know is that we want to find a hook comment, and there are several, right? Now take that there's no hook comment, yeah, then of course you go Google and see how it's called differently. So in Drupal 6 there was a hook comment. It turns out that now there are several hook comments, but they've split it up. So I see the insert here, I see the delete. Let's go to the insert. Yes. What you see is that there's a hook comment insert. It takes the comment which contains probably all the functions, but you know what? Let's test that. So let's go back to the code. Oh, that's not the code. This is the code. Yes. Okay. So I had my submit and my form that was for the admin. So now I create over here. I'm gonna tell that this is gonna be a hook. So it's hook insert. And of course we need to replace the hook part with the name of our module. There you go. So, you know what? We're just gonna set the message. Drupal print message. Comments, so you can actually see what's in it. And I guess that's gonna be the same for hook comment deletes. Update, delete. I think it also just takes in a comment. Yes, see? Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this and then call everything delete. 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 There you go. Now both will do the same. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to the side and let's delete a comment. I'm the admin. I should be able to delete a comment. So that's a page. That's a comment. That's a long comment. It's a too long comment. Let's delete it. Are you sure? Yes. And now I get it. Oh, I get it several times. Doesn't matter. I actually need it only once. So let's see. This is how the object looks. You have a comment ID, you had a parent ID equal to 0, you had a node ID, and you had a user ID, right? Now let's go back to the code. The last thing we had over here is, so how do I delete something if I only have this information? Okay. Good question. The thing I need to do is I'll go to the database over here, right? And let's just delete this very first one so you can see the syntax. So it's set, oops, that was too fast. It says delete from the table, and then where you need to have the sender ID and the receiver ID, but because that's your key, okay? So what I need to have in my code over here, I'll just first create a query equal to a string, right? Is something like delete from user interaction where sender ID is equal to something and receiver ID is equal to something. Now what are those two somethings? That's what you need to figure out, right? So first of all, the sender, that's the comment you actually just deleted, right? So the sender is always this one, right? So, but then we already have the user ID. So the sender ID is just the comment user ID. Now I use double quotes, so what I can do over here is just put comment, and then you can have a look over here. It's just called UID. UID. I can just put it right in my string because I'm using double quotes. In most modules in Drupal, you will see that they use a placeholder. You can have a look at what that is. Okay, so that's the easy part. The other part is the receiver ID. That's the tricky part. First thing we need to do is look at the parent ID. You see over here that parent ID is 0, right? Meaning that if you go, yeah, well, so it was an ID to a comment to a node, right? Now if I go back, let's go back. If I, for example, delete a comment to a comment, just take a note over here, and let's see if I can find a comment to a comment. Okay, you see this comment? This comment, I guess, is replied to this one, right? So if I delete this one, yes, I'm sure. Now I expect the parent ID to be a value, right? So the very first thing we need to do is, and you saw that it was first 0 and now it had a value. So I'll need to check if the comment parent ID, well, if I do this, if it's a null value or it's a 0, it will actually be the same. So if it's 0, I have no ID. So then I'm in the case of a node. Check with node, and in the else case, check with comment, right? So we already have the code a little bit over here, but the question is how do we do that? So I'll just take this case, right? Well, this is probably deleted now, so I'll need to find another case. Let me think. Well, you know what? I'm gonna do it with this one, but I expect to get an error. So what I want to do is I want to do a delete from user interaction where comment ID is equal to 36. Oh, 9, sorry, to 9, right? And receiver ID should be gotten by using one of those values. So in our case, there's a parent ID. So now I actually want to link it to nodes. So what I expect that I can do is I can delete from users, which I call UI, and then I take a second table, the comments, which I call C, where UI user ID is equal to this, and UI user ID is equal to C user ID. So it's the other comment, so I need the user ID of the other comments, right? And last but not least, I need C dot comment ID, which is sit, equal to comment parent ID, because there's a parent ID now. So that's the case where there is a parent ID. So this is the case where there is a parent ID. That's this case. Okay, and in the other case, I'm going to update this. In the other case, I need to delete from user ID, but now I need to go to node, and so this stays the same. This stays not the same. It's receiver ID should be equal to the node user ID. Oh, there's a D missing there. So to the node user ID, right? And the node ID should be equal to the comment node ID. That's what I expect, right? Now let's first test this. Oh, you know what? If I just run this, I'm gonna see if it's deleted or not. Yeah, let's just run it. Okay, so how do I make sure that I can test it? Well, I've got the admin over here, right? I've got, let's reload. Oh, made a mistake somewhere. Yep, forgot to do this and this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna show the query over here, right? Okay. Now you know what? I'm right away gonna run it, and I'll see what happens in the table. Okay, so let's reload it. So admin and blah. I changed the very first username. If I go to users and I browse them, the very first one with 0 is called blah because there was no name and then you don't see it. So admin and blah has 4 counts, and I can actually go to let's see if I can find a post with user ID 0. Yes, let's try that. That means that I need to go back to my database, and I'm going to node. I'm gonna browse it, and I'm gonna I'm gonna search on user ID where user ID is 0. So there's a node 37. Let's go to node 37. That's 36. 37. So this is created by blah, published by blah, right? Now I'm gonna search for admin. There's the admin, right? So this is admin blah. If I let's make sure that this is actually a comment to a node or a comment to a comment. So this is, look below, you see comment 363. So I can go back to the database, go to comments, and check node 363. Where comment ID is equal to 363. That's the one I want. It's probably going to be the fastest way to get it. There you go. So let's look. So you see that the user ID is 1. That's what I expected, right? There's no parent ID. So in this case, I expect the second one to show. So I'll also print a message, just Drupal print message. I'll also print a query so we can see it, right? So I expect it to get to this one and then run this query. And if everything goes well, if I delete this one and I refresh over here, this should be gone to 3. Let's try that. Make sure that I saved everything. I'm displaying it. So now I'm gonna delete it. Yes. Delete from user interaction UI node n, where user ID is equal to 6 is 1, and user ID receiver ID is a node, the user ID of the node, and the node ID is 37, and that seems okay, but I get an error. So let's see. You have an error in your SQL. Check the manual that near UI, where yes, of course, of course. Haha. Well, I see two things wrong here. So it seems that you cannot use this query. But the other thing I see wrong is that I delete the comment, and actually I want to put it one smaller, so I actually don't need to delete it. I need to update it. I need to update it. Look, what I actually want to do is, if I go to Node user interaction, I browse it. Let's say this one. What I want to do is replace it by 2, right? And then you have this query, update, set, where, and so on. So it's not a delete, it's an update. And I think in the update you can actually have 2 tables. We're gonna try that. Update, so you need to update and then you need to set. So the way I'm gonna set it is update set count is equal to count minus 1, and in the worst case you get that of course the count will be 0. Yep, but let's worry about that later on. Okay, means I need to find another query. Oh no, wait, this was not deleted, right? Because I got an error, so I can go back. Make sure that this is saved, right? And I'm gonna delete it again. Let's see what happens. So now I have the update. Yes, of course. Look at the query. There's update, there's no form. So I don't need a from. Okay, save. Go back. One back. Doesn't exist. Oh, look, a typo. That was typo. Delete again. Haha. You see, now it worked. And this is a query I actually run. Right? Update user interaction. And I also needed to note I set count equal to count minus 1 where user ID is blah 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 blah, and that's it. Now the one thing I notice is that of course if I use it this way, count can actually become 0, and I don't want to show counts that are 0. So I could actually update my table over here. Right? This is my basic table where I inner join with, no, that's the self interaction. This is the basic one, the user interaction. So what I could do is make sure that the where always has make sure that this is never 0, right? So I could do that. Oh, I'm not gonna do that right now. So this is the update version. I just tested it with where the node ID works. So to make sure that it really works, I'm gonna search the database for oh wait, I need to test it over here as well. So this 4 needs to be 3 now, right? Yeah, there it is. It shifts 1 because now there's another one with 4, right? And it organizes by most counts first. So but now the admin blah is reduced to 3. So that update works. I should update one where there is a parent ID, which is quite easy. I just go to one that's a comment to a comment. This one is a comment to a comment, and now I delete it. And wait, I'll go first back. Let's see. This is Poslov, and it's a reply to permalink, or whatever. Well, we'll just see if we don't get an error, okay? So I'll delete this one, delete, update use interactions. Now it looks to comments and it sets count to blah blah blah, and because everything is green I expect it to work. So the delete works. I'm gonna remove this part here, the show message. You know what, I'm gonna copy paste that before I remove it, and I'm gonna put it over here. So inserting. Now with inserting we are not sure if we actually have a new interaction or if we are updating like we have with the delete. In the delete case we always know that there's an update, right? So I kind of need more or less the same, but I don't need this, the query is going to be different. The queries actually are going to be the same as we have for the admin function on top here. What we need to do is we need to insert into a table, and if it already exists we need to duplicate the key. That's basically it. So this one was where there is a parent ID, right? So I'm gonna copy this over here and I'm gonna replace it over there. But this actually insert for the whole table. I need to make sure that I'm sticking to my one comment. And this one was when there is no parent ID. So that's the other case. There you go. So, but now I'm updating everything, right? So I only need to insert into it where for this comment. And so what do I need to change? I know from the previous one that the sender ID sit is equal to the user ID, right? So I'll replace this part with comment user ID. I don't know the receiver, so I'm gonna get this receiver, and this still stays one because I need to check if there is one or not. So now I'm joining with the comments. That's okay. That's gonna be my receiver, right? I don't need to do an inner join. Yep, but I do need a where parent ID. So the receiver. Yep, the receiver comment ID is equal to my comment parent ID. That's basically it. So look, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna remove it again. So this needs to be the same, but now not for the whole table, but just for this comment. So what I do is I just remove this part. So I have where s pit is actually now the comment, right? So I can remove this part. So just turn it around. It's like this. But there's no s, there's this comment. So I'll just take this part. It's like this. See? So if you turn them around, you see that the only thing that I changed from this and this, so let me just turn it around up here as well, so it looks almost the same. So you see that this one and so this query and this query are almost identical. The difference is that you here actually have an inner join tool. So if I could like, I can just replace this, right? With sender and receiver. So now you see that normally you also do an inner join with the comments. So you get all the receivers from the sender. In this case, it looks almost the same. But you don't do an inner join with the whole table. You just take that one comment, user ID, and in that one comment, the parent ID, and that's it. So we need to do the same over here, but of course we kind of need to turn this upside too. So you need to select it from the node ID, right? And so let me just change that everywhere. Node is R, and comment is sender. That's the only thing that really changes, right? You can, because you're doing inner join, you can just switch the tables, right? So there isn't an inner join, there's just a where, and where what? Parent ID should be equal to 0, right? Um, let me think. Well, we need the receiver ID, okay? So this again is a sender ID. Receiver ID 1, then we join with R, and what we need is we need from R, we need the user ID of R, right? So the only thing we really need now is say that R node ID is equal to the node ID of the comment. So I'm gonna just turn it upside down here too. So I'm just gonna take this and put it over there so that you can see that this query and this query are also almost identical, right? From node R, here you do an inner join, here you just say that the R node ID is equal to a fixed one. That's it. That's it. That's what I expect. I'm gonna save that and I'm gonna test it. So this was the delete. Now we're gonna insert. This is blah again. That's good one because we have blah and admin over here. So I'm gonna just first insert a comment to. So down here, this is a test. Oops, a test to a node. I got an error. Let's see. So we have insert into user interactions, sit returns, yes, where user ID, so the sender, that's the admin, is 1. Our user ID as receiver, 1 from node R, where R is equal to 37. And what's the mistake? Pit. I don't see a pit. Oh, there it is. Yes, of course. I mean, there's a parent ID, but I didn't say that it's from the user interaction, right? In the previous one, we actually needed to make sure that the parent ID would be 0. In this case, actually, we don't need this. We don't need this because we already have the node. In this case, we need to make sure that we don't count the comments that actually are comments to a comment. So in this case, we just need this. So I'll retry it. And save. And it says okay. And on top, you see the query. Your comment has been posted. So if I go to my table, admin blah should now be 4 again. Admin blah is 4 again. Okie dokie. And the next test is a comment to a comment. So I reply to this comment. Oh, wait a minute. I'll go and search. Well, anyway, it worked for the blah, so I'm just gonna do one here. Testing to comments. Save. And then look at top. And you see the insert and it says there's no SQL error, so this should be okay. And probably if you go to, I don't know to which one I've actually replied, so another user. Okay, so that's basically the updating of the comments. So when you insert, you need to check, you need to make sure that the count becomes count plus 1 or insert 1. And when you delete, you need to have the count minus 1. That's basically it. One small last thing I could do is make sure that you don't get you don't display the counts that became 0, but you know what, I'm gonna just stop here.